defensive end that you can get in the 4th round.
Yeah, those guys are good. I'm looking at Joe Jackson. Let's see what his thing was. He is tall, has long arms. Yeah, his vertical was only 27. That's pretty bad.
Ooh. Yeah, and he's a good, he's got potential. And again, for the workout, he was viewed as a 2nd-round pick.
What about did you mention Collier? Do you like LJ Collier? Because I know the Raiders are pretty high on him. At least that's what Vic Tafur was reporting.
Yeah, so I like LJ Collier. My issue with him is I don't think the Raiders have a pick in the range that he's going to go. I think 35 is too high for him. The reason for that is because he's 280 pounds and he's a little bit short to play defensive end. He looked great at the Senior Bowl, but I don't, if I have a top 35 pick, I want to take a guy who's the prototype or close to that.
Right.
He's a little bit of like, what is he? Is he a 3 technique? Is he he's not really going to be a great pass rusher most likely if you're playing him at defensive end. But in the 3rd round, I think he would be my preferred target for a strong side defensive end. I just wouldn't take him at 35, and I don't think he'll be there in the 4th round. And I'll put Zach Allen from Boston College in that category. A nice player. I'd love to have him. I don't really want him at 35, though. Yeah. And there's no way he's going to be there in the 4th round.
You never know. Weird things have happened in the draft. Hopefully somebody does fall, right?
That's true. That's very true.
Yeah. Just to quickly touch on the cornerback position, just because it's a valuable position. Do you know how many percent of the time Raiders played zone versus man? Were they mostly, because I can't tell, obviously looking at the broadcast view, that if they're playing cover 4, cover 2, whatnot. Do you have any?
Yeah, I don't have the percentages in front of me. I believe they played a lot of cover 2 last year though, and some man. So I think that was the majority of what they did. But again, I hate to say that matter of factly without having the actual numbers in front of me.
Yeah. No, I really liked Byron Murphy, but his combine and his measurement really scared me. I know he's a zone corner, but still, when you have, let me read you his numbers. His speed score was 89, and I was tracking the speed scores for the top players. The baseline was 100, minimum. He had a speed score of 89. His arm length is only 30 inches, 4.55 40, and his broad jump was only 120, which is 10 foot, which is pretty bad for a cornerbacks. So how are you projecting him into the NFL? Because I know a lot of Raider fans are high on him.
Yeah, he's a little bit small too. I think the thing with him though is you watch him play and he looks like he's going to be a great player. I can't kill him for a 4.55. A lot of people are. To me, 4.6 I start to get concerned, but I personally would not discount everything that he did on film because he ran a 4.55 instead of a 4.49. So I like Murphy. I think late 1st round is probably where he's going to go, somewhere between 20 and 32. Yeah. Wouldn't shock me if he fell to the 2nd round for the reasons that you mentioned, though.
Yeah, no, and there's a few other guys. AJ Boyer ran a 4.55. Casey Hayward ran a 4.57. And Richard Sherman and Desmond King both ran a 4.6. So it doesn't automatically mean they'll be bad guys, but vast majority of the good cornerbacks did run faster. But a couple of other guys, if the Raiders did go defensive back, with pick 27 or 35, a couple of guys that would fit, who can play both man or zone that you like.
I think Greedy Williams, if he happens to fall, I think he would be a perfect pick. I think, now there's that luxury pick that I was talking about before. I don't mind Darryl Worley one bit, But I think if you pair Greedy Williams with Garyon Conley, now you're starting to get into the potential to have something special. So I like Greedy Williams for sure. 24 and 27. Again, a player who I've really been higher on, I think, than anyone else is Justin Lane, Michigan State. He's another big cornerback who is tremendously productive, and people are talking about him sort of in the second round, but I have him in that first round range. With Justin Lane, I kind of bring up some of the same things as when we talk about one of the cornerbacks I know you're really high on, and that's David Long from Michigan.
Yep.
And both those guys, when I evaluate them, they kind of jump off the page at me as, let's not overthink this. Both of those guys were really good college football players. They both have size and athleticism. It's simple. I mean, I know that on Twitter and in the draft community, people try to make it more complicated than it is, but I really think you're onto something with David Long, and I think that Justin Lane is in that same category.
Okay, before we wrap up, can you give us a couple of names that you like for the Raiders in the 4th and 5th round in the cornerback position as well?
Oh, at the cornerback position. Yeah,
yep.
Sure. So in the 4th round, well, I really like Corey Ballantyne from Washburn. I'm not sure he's going to be there. I haven't seen him mentioned really in the 3rd round, but he's big and athletic and productive. He earned I know this isn't the end all be all, but he earned a starting role after his week of practice for the Senior Bowl. And he came from Washburn, so there's some adjustment there in terms of level of competition. We come out of the Senior Bowl and everybody's talking about Nasir Adderley as the big small school defensive back. Why isn't anybody talking about Ballantyne from Washington? So if he's there in the 4th round, I'd love him. Hamp Cheevers in the 5th round. This has Mike Mayock written all over it.
No, the Boston guy.
Mike Mayock, Boston College, and he likes those small defensive backs. One thing that I've noticed about Mayock's evaluations when he was with the NFL Network, he didn't care about a player's size, a defensive back's size. He liked this guy Ahmed Black who played for Florida. I think he played for the Buccaneers for like a year or so. And I remember Ahmed Black was like 5'8" and ran like a 4.7 40. And Mike Mayock is like, I don't care. This guy is going to be good. And he was wrong. But if you look at, his offseason so far, he signed LaMarcus Joyner. It's like 5'8" and ran like a 4.6 40. So I don't think he's going to be scared away by some of these smaller guys. And Hamp Cheevers certainly was very productive last year at Boston College.
Awesome. So I saw your latest mock draft come out today. Is that the final one that you're submitting to the Huddle Report, or will there be an updated version of that?
So this week gets really, really busy for me, and my buddy Ray, who runs the site with me, with submitting our entries for the Huddle Report. We've got our top 100 due tomorrow night, and our final mock drafts are due Wednesday night. So the mock draft that I put on the website, I spent a lot of time on that, and I really factored in prospect visits and projected or rumored interest, I should say,
right,
shown by different teams. That is the final projection that we are going to make that's going to be 7 rounds. So my goal for that mock draft is to slot players into the value where I think they're going to go in terms of like round, for example, and a potential team that makes sense. I will be submitting a different first round mock draft for the Huddle Report just because, I'm not going to make another 7 round mock draft. That thing takes weeks to create. And the Huddle Report only scores the first round with the mock draft competition. So I'll be making a 1-round final mock draft. Ray will be making a separate 1-round final mock draft, and we'll be submitting those on Wednesday. Nobody ever really wants to admit this, but the mock draft competition is complete luck, as you know. I mean, we did a mock draft yesterday, 4 of us,
right?
And it made plenty of sense. And the 4 of us could get together and make a different mock draft where almost every pick is different, and it could make just as much sense, or a trade comes through and blows something up. So we really spent the majority of our focus on our top 100 board. We feel like that's more important because it shows player value. So that's the big thing we're going to focus on for tomorrow. But yeah, we'll have 2 separate final 1-round mock drafts on Wednesday.
Awesome, man. I know you have a little daughter you want to get back to and spend time with, but we really, really, really appreciate your help and giving us your vast knowledge of the draft. So thanks, Mike. Anything else you want to say before we sign off?
No, JB, I always enjoy talking about the draft, and it's always nice when I get to talk about the Raiders. So I really like talking with you and Gavin, and I appreciate you guys having me on the podcast a few times, and interacting with you guys on Twitter as well. So you guys are doing a great job, and just thank you for having me on. And hey, enjoy the draft. I'm sure we'll be talking about the Raiders picks on Twitter over the weekend.
Yeah, definitely will. And everyone out there listening, check out the site, NFLRoughDraft.com. Give them a follow. You're good guys, Raiders guys. So at least you're a Raider guy. Ray is a Steelers fan, I guess, right?
Yeah, yep. That's correct.
All right, man. Well, thanks for coming on. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, JB. Take care.
Take care.